Okay, let's talk about the concept of closure because, this is something that has always bothered me. I don't understand when people start talking about, they need you to give them closure. Now, I've been in situations like that with dudes, they just can't let go. They just want to call and whine and cry and ask you why you leave me, why you don't want me no more, why don't you love me no more, and all this old stuff. And do you know that disgusts me to no end? I mean, I might have been okay with breaking up with you. We could have even done it on a in a friendly way after after some time passes. But when you just go whine and cry and act a fool, we ain't married. We don't have no kids together. It ain't even nowhere near that kind of level of involvement. So for you to act a fool and start crying about, you need to give me closure. We need to talk about it, all this old stuff. You're whining like a fucking bitch. Get over it. I hate that shit. And I hate it when men do it, and I hate it when women do it even more. Have some pride about yourself. Don't be going to some motherfucker who already don't want you, begging him to give you anything. He's done with your ass. Accept it. That's the only closure that you need. When you decide the door is closed to your heart from his direction, then that's it. The closure that you're looking for has happened, and you gave it to yourself. Now, see, my technique for ending a relationship generally involves what was called going ghost, the fade to black. I just disappear. I don't return your calls. I don't return your texts. I'm just don't. It's like you just cease to exist. Your shit goes to voicemail. I don't want to see you. If I know you're gonna be somewhere, I avoid you. I'm done. That means I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I will have nothing to do with you. So why do you think you calling me asking to have a conversation about a relationship that I already told you by my actions where I disappeared, or sometimes by words before where I told you where you was fucking up and you just ignored me? Okay, you already knew. See, that's the part that really gets on my nerves too. It's like, I'm a communications major. Okay, that's what I do. My side hustle is everything that I do is about communicating, right? So if I'm sitting up there, I'm going out with you, and I tell you, well, when you do this and that, that ain't working for me. Or when you say this and that, I don't like that shit. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you exactly one time because you've grown and you allegedly have an IQ over 100. So that means you're supposed to be able to understand simple English language terminology. So I'm telling you that ain't working for me. That means motherfucker stop doing it. And if you doing something that gets on my nerves and I tell you and you keep doing it anyway, well, see, to me, that means you don't want the relationship anymore. That's what you're communicating through your behavior. Otherwise, if I told you something was getting on my nerves and really pissing me off, you would stop doing it, right? Because you wouldn't want to create that kind of emotion in me and that kind of mindset. You want everything to be happy, peaches, and keen and lovely and wonderful, so I'd want to keep seeing you. But that's not what you all do, see? So you piss the woman off, or you ladies, you piss the man off, or the man just decide he want to be with somebody else, whatever's the scenario in your situation. The bottom line is that person doesn't want to be with you anymore. Now, they can handle it in what some people say is the adult way, where they, will sit down and tell you that they don't want it to be, they don't want the relationship anymore. And I suppose that's one way to do it if you feel like exerting that kind of time and energy. I never do that. What I do is just like I said, just disappear on your ass. I just stop all communication and just I'm gone. That's it. End of story. The reason why I say that other stuff, that conversation part is stupid, because no matter what excuse somebody gives you, the bottom line is they don't want you no more. So, I mean, they can make it sound pretty and put all kind of bows, ribbons, and frosting on it, and lace and everything else. But once you unwrap and pull all that shit away, the bottom line, one sentence answer is they don't want you anymore. I don't understand why that is so hard for so many people to accept. They want to, well, we need to talk about it. What did I do wrong? Why don't you love me anymore? What happened? Can't we give it another chance? Blah, 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 blah. Don't nobody want to hear all that shit. They're done with you. And you whining like that is just so demeaning. It's like groveling. Oh my God, it's so distasteful. Why do you do that? Don't do that to yourself. It's just so demeaning. I mean, if you want to, have all the emotions about it, do that shit in your privacy, in your bedroom, under the covers, so nobody knows that it happened but you. That's just humiliating. I mean, it's like humiliating to yourself. You're showing a side of yourself that you don't need to ever show nobody. Nobody, not even your mama. Nobody needs to see that. That is just terrible. So it's like, you feel like, you gave everything in the relationship a chance, and, you did all the stuff. And what your payoff should be, you feel, is a breakup in a way that you can tolerate it, in a way that's acceptable to you. Now, if you are doing the breaking up, then that sentiment would be, accurate. But we're not talking about you. We're talking about the person on the other side. And what they're looking at is what works for them and what's comfortable for them. So you coming to them asking for all this closure and stuff, you're trying to force that person to be something that's uncomfortable for them in a situation where they're already done with you. So they have nothing. They have no reason to do that. There's no benefit to them to do that. You asking them to do that is not going to help the situation at all. It's going to make them even more irritated with you, and glad that they left the relationship. Now, this one I was reading online. I have to look up, terms, because I like to know how other people view the things that I talk about. And this white boy's up there like, well, closure is a mutually agreed experience where both people leave with resolution or peace. Both parties can walk away with a sense of finality. That is some old mumbo jumbo bullshit. Because, see, the person, like, okay, I'll use myself as for an example. Okay, so he's like, well, both people leave with resolution or peace, and both people can walk away with a sense of finality. I walk away with finality and a sense of peace, and second I decide I'm done with your ass. I feel so peaceful. I'm like, oh, no. Sing, I'm just like it's like lovely. So there's no reason for me to worry about your feelings of resolution and peace and your feelings of finality. That's irrelevant, because I'm done with your ass. I don't give a fuck if you have those things or not. I'm done. Okay? So you people who go to your exes looking for them to give you this closure are barking up you're just barking up the wrong tree. But there is a case where that might work. Okay, now, since I talk about dating, I'm not really talking about any situation where people have been married and they're getting divorced. Okay, so that's off the table. My stuff is, basically I talk about dating leading up to marriage, and sometimes, the first early months. But generally, I talk about single people, and their dating interactions. So in a situation where you're just dating somebody, you don't really owe them much of anything. We all date and then we break up, and that's just how it is. So, but it just say that you're in a situation where you're still talking to your ex. You're on some kind of, speaking terms with dude. Maybe you work together, you're in some kind of club where you're going to be interacting with each other frequently, your neighbors or something. I don't know. I'm just, whatever. But there's some situation where you feel it's in the best interest, and you both feel the best interest for you to continue to be on somewhat speaking terms. Okay, so in that situation, you can reach out and maybe meet up, if that, coffee shop or some, the park or some place where you have like a semi-private situation, walking on the beach or something like that. I mean, there'll be people around, but they won't be like all up in your face. So, that person may be willing to devote 20 or 30 minutes, maybe even more, to talk things out with you and answer your questions and this and that. But don't be disappointed if they decide not to. Because they just really might not want to. Okay, so that's one thing. Then, if you're not talking to the ex, because they're like me, and they don't want to talk to you, you can't look at them to provide you with anything. Not a conversation, not pity, not a, I'm so sad and depressed that this happened to us, greeting card, nothing. No phone calls, no text, nothing. You can't depend on them for that. So that means that you're on your own to provide your own closure. And basically, it basically, when you have closure, what does it mean? It basically means that you've finally accepted that that person's gone. That's the bottom line. I mean, you can use all these fancy psychological terms for it, but the bottom line is you finally accepted that the motherfucker don't want you and you have moved on. That's what that means. So that's something that you give yourself because, see, like I was saying earlier, even if the person left you, if you're not accepting the fact that they're gone, you think there's a chance for it to go back, to get them back. You just have to do something. You just have to find this magic lever, this magic button to press, or the magic words to say, or something to make them come back to you. Then you're never going to get closure because you don't want it. You're not looking for it. You're looking for that person to come back. So, see, that I mean that's just fruitless and you're wasting time when you could be on your healing journey. You wasting time chasing a shadow because that person's gone. They're out of the picture, but you still chasing after them. In the other situation, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm just kind of rambling on and lost my train of thought, but anyway, whatever. We'll move on from that. The bottom line is, in either situation, whether you talk to the ex or not, um, whether that person does a ghost out or actually tells you that they're leaving, the bottom line is you and only you are responsible for your feelings. You are responsible for telling yourself, well, it's over. It was nice while it lasted, and now let me go, enjoy my life with someone else or some other couple of someone else's because that situation is in the past. And when you can say that to yourself comfortably and confidently, and put the things in perspective where you can look back on those days you spent with that person and maybe think about the good times and smile and just move on, because my thing is this: no relationship is a waste of time, none. But we always learn something very valuable about ourselves in every relationship that we're in, no matter how horrible it ultimately ends up or how painful it was even while we were in it. Maybe we're still learning something if we open our brains and heed the messages that are coming. We can learn what we shouldn't be doing. We can learn what we should do differently. We can learn what we should be doing more of. We should learn how to adjust our choices. We should learn how to extricate ourselves from situations when we see warning signs. Stop trying to ignore them. There are all kinds of lessons that you can learn. You can even some good ones like how to love more, how to love better, how to be a better communicator. All those are things that we can learn in relationships while they are good and while they are growing. But once your mate starts to complain and you ignore their complaints, or once your mate starts finding reasons to not be around you that much, once your mate starts turning his or her back to you in bed, these kind of things are all warning signs that the relationship is off track and probably headed towards a breakup. A lot of you try to act like you don't understand what's happening and that the hints are too hidden and you need something to be more overt by telling you and this and that. No, you don't. Your ass ain't stupid. You know what time it is. You know that things have changed. When things change, it's never for the better, because otherwise you wouldn't be worried. See, if it was for the better, your ass would be grinning like a Cheshire cat. But you worried and you concerned and you tripping because it happened to change for the worse. When a relationship changes for the worse and you just dating a motherfucker, the breakup is coming. And that's, I don't know what else to tell you. That's the reality. But, comfort can be gained with closure because you feel then that, you've done everything that you can to sustain the relationship in a healthy way. But I just want people to understand, ladies, you got to understand that no one gives you closure. You can't look for something outside of yourself to give you a sense of finality. You give that to yourself any fucking time you're ready to. You could be 30 seconds after the nigga walks out the door. You say, well, that's that. Okay, how many long did that take? About 6 seconds? Okay, there's your closure. And it's just, doesn't have to be this whole big thing and this big dramatic scene like y'all be reading about in Cosmo or something. It's not like that. Closure is when your mind accepts that the relationship that you thought you were going to have for a long time has blown up in smoke and the person is no longer interested in being with you, and you say, okay, I understand. And even if you only say it to yourself, that's what's said, and you move on. Okay? That's closure. Nobody owes you closure. You give it to yourself. This is Deborah Cooper from survivingdating.com, signing out on a discussion of closure in relationships and the fact that nobody owes it to you. It's something you're going to give yourself when as soon as you get ready to give it, it's all there for you. All right, talk to you guys soon. We may come up with some more videos this weekend, as a matter of fact. Bye-bye.